Beneath the grand architecture of Whitehall, a quiet but significant shift is underway. For decades, the question of Somaliland's statehood was a diplomatic puzzle few dared to touch. Now the conversation has changed. The whispers among policymakers are no longer about if Somaliland should be recognized, but when and how. The United Kingdom, bound by a complex history to this corner of the Horn of Africa, finds itself at the center of this evolving narrative. Recent behind-the-scenes consultations and growing cross-party support in Parliament suggest that London is preparing for a landmark decision. This is not a sudden development, but the culmination of years of patient diplomacy and Somaliland's undeniable progress. The connection between the UK and Somaliland is more than just a footnote in colonial history. It is a living relationship. For a brief, shining moment in 1960, Somaliland was an independent nation, granted sovereignty by Great Britain on June 26th. Its voluntary union with the former Italian Somaliland 5 days later was a hopeful act of pan-Somali unity that ultimately descended into tragedy. This historical precedent gives the UK a unique moral and political standing in the debate. London never broke a state. It granted one independence. This fact, coupled with the large and influential Somaliland diaspora in cities like London, Bristol and Sheffield, keeps the issue on the political agenda. Recent events have drastically accelerated the momentum. The landmark Memorandum of Understanding signed between Somaliland and Ethiopia on January 1, 2024, was a geopolitical earthquake. It promised landlocked Ethiopia a path to the sea via the port of Berbera, and in return hinted at the one thing Somaliland craves most: diplomatic recognition. This bold move forced the world to pay attention. It demonstrated that Somaliland was no longer content to wait for permission to act like a sovereign state. It was now creating its own facts on the ground, forging alliances that serve its national interest and reshaping regional power dynamics on its own terms. This new assertiveness has not gone unnoticed by other global powers. In March 2025, reports emerged of talks between the Trump administration and Somaliland officials regarding a potential US military presence near Berbera. The strategic value of this location, overlooking the vital Gulf of Aden shipping lanes, is immense, especially as a counterbalance to China's base in nearby Djibouti. In May, Somaliland's president declared that recognition was on the horizon following discussions with American leaders. This flurry of high-stakes diplomacy, combined with the opening of new diplomatic missions abroad, has pushed the question of Somaliland's status from the dusty shelves of foreign ministries directly into the global spotlight. To understand why Somaliland's case is so compelling, one must look at the stark contrast it presents to its southern neighbour, Somalia. For over 30 years, since declaring its independence in 1991, Somaliland has built a nation from the ashes of civil war. It has cultivated a functioning multi-party democracy, complete with its own constitution, currency and security forces. The state has held a series of internationally monitored presidential and parliamentary elections, often resulting in peaceful transfers of power. This is an achievement that few would have thought possible in one of the world's most volatile regions. It is a testament to the resilience and determination of its people. This journey was not easy. While the world poured billions of dollars in aid into Mogadishu with little to show for it, Somaliland received minimal external support. It pulled itself up by its own bootstraps, relying on community-led peace-building initiatives and the financial contributions of its global diaspora. The result is a society with a strong sense of national identity and a deep investment in its own stability. When you walk the streets of its capital, Hargeisa, you do not find the chaos and fear that have long plagued Mogadishu. Instead, you find a bustling city where commerce thrives and citizens go about their lives in relative peace and security. This stability has attracted significant foreign investment, further cementing its de facto independence. The United Arab Emirates, through its logistics giant DP World, has invested hundreds of millions of dollars to modernize and expand the port of Berbera. This project is not just about upgrading infrastructure, it is about creating a new economic gateway for East Africa. The port's expansion, coupled with plans for a trade corridor connecting it to Ethiopia, positions Somaliland as a crucial player in regional commerce. This economic viability demonstrates that Somaliland is not a failed state seeking a handout, but a functioning entity capable of being a reliable partner. In sharp contrast, Somalia continues to grapple with endemic instability, terrorism, and political fragmentation. For decades, it has been the poster child for a failed state, reliant on foreign peacekeepers and international aid to maintain even a semblance of governance. While progress has been made, the central government in Mogadishu still struggles to exert control beyond the capital. The persistent threat from extremist groups means that security remains precarious. This enduring chaos makes the peace and democratic order built by Somaliland next door seem all the more remarkable, highlighting a governance model that works in a region where so many others have failed. Somaliland's path to recognition is not without significant obstacles. The primary institutional barrier is the African Union. The organization is deeply committed to the principle of upholding colonial-era borders, a doctrine established to prevent the continent from unraveling into countless secessionist conflicts. The fear is that recognizing Somaliland could set a dangerous precedent, encouraging other separatist movements across Africa to demand their own independence. Ironically, a 2007 AU fact-finding mission to Somaliland actually recommended that it be recognized, but the report was quietly shelved, a victim of this overarching political anxiety. The AU's caution remains a powerful brake on any formal change of status. Beyond the AU's institutional stance, Somaliland faces direct opposition from several key nations. Turkey, which has invested heavily in Somalia and sees itself as a patron of the government in Mogadishu, is staunchly against Somaliland's independence. It views a unified Somalia as crucial to its own strategic and economic interests in the region. Similarly, Egypt has voiced opposition, largely driven by its long-standing rivalry with Ethiopia. Cairo fears that an independent Somaliland, allied with Addis Ababa, would further empower its adversary in the critical Red Sea corridor. These powerful regional players have used their diplomatic influence to lobby against any move towards recognition, creating a formidable bloc of opposition. However, the geopolitical landscape is shifting, creating new opportunities for Somaliland. The rise of China as a major power in the region, marked by its naval base in Djibouti, has prompted the United States to re-evaluate its strategic partnerships. Washington now sees Somaliland's stable, democratic, and strategically located territory as a valuable potential partner for countering Chinese influence and ensuring maritime security. The American Enterprise Institute, an influential think tank, recently recommended a Taiwan-style engagement, suggesting a formal, structured relationship that stops just short of full recognition. This growing American interest provides Somaliland with powerful leverage it has never had before. Somaliland has also played its own diplomatic cards shrewdly. By establishing relations with Taiwan in 2020, it created a unique alliance of two unrecognized but functioning democracies. This move deliberately angered Beijing, which considers Taiwan a rogue province, but it signaled to the West that Somaliland was willing to align itself with democratic partners. The recent MOU with Ethiopia was another masterstroke, demonstrating that Somaliland can offer tangible strategic benefits to its neighbors. These new alliances are chipping away at the old diplomatic stalemate, forcing the international community to reconsider the costs of ignoring Somaliland's reality. In this complex web of diplomacy, all eyes are turning to the United Kingdom. As the former colonial power that granted Somaliland its initial independence, Britain is seen as the one Western nation with the historical legitimacy and political cover to make the first move. A decision from London would not be seen as an aggressive intervention, but as the completion of a historical process. For years, the UK Foreign Office has preferred to let an African nation lead. But the AU's paralysis and the shifting strategic environment have made that position increasingly untenable. The momentum is now so strong that many believe British recognition is no longer a matter of if, but when. So what does inevitable recognition truly mean? For Somaliland, it is the key that unlocks the door to the international community. Full recognition would allow it to access loans from the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, enabling major investments in infrastructure, healthcare, and education. It would allow Somaliland to formalize security partnerships, strengthening its ability to police its borders and the crucial shipping lanes of the Red Sea. Most importantly, it would give its nearly 6 million people the dignity of a passport that is accepted around the world and a seat at the table of nations. It would be the formal acknowledgement of a reality they have lived for over 3 decades. The UK's recognition would likely create a domino effect. Other Commonwealth and European nations, many of which have been quietly engaging with Hargeisa for years, would almost certainly follow suit. This would put immense pressure on the United States to formalize its own relationship and on the African Union to reconsider its long-held position. While countries like Turkey and Egypt would object, they would be faced with a new reality supported by a growing coalition of Western and African states. The UK's move would not be a leap in the dark, it would be a calculated step that validates an existing and durable peace in a troubled region. Ultimately, the case for Somaliland rests on a simple principle: pragmatism, ignoring a peaceful, democratic and strategic partner, simply to uphold a theoretical map that no longer reflects reality, serves no one's interest. It punishes success and inadvertently rewards the instability that has plagued Somalia. By taking the lead, the UK has an opportunity to champion democracy, enhance regional security, and correct a historical anomaly. For Somaliland, a new dawn is on the horizon. Recognition would not be a gift, but a deserved acknowledgement of their long and patient struggle for self-determination. The world, and especially Britain, is finally waking up to that fact.